Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about garnishment exemptions. There are a lot of people who have been emailing. They are getting garnished. They've already went through the process of losing a judgment, and they're just reaching out to see how they can get help. Trying to figure out a solution for it. Getting garnished of your wages could be one of the most empty feelings that an individual can have, because imagine going to work all week and that money just comes right out of your paycheck. It's a different thing when you pay a bill out of your paycheck, but when it's something that you have no choice of, where it's just being taken out, it gives people a strange feeling of losing control, because you have to keep going to work, and depending on what type of garnishment it is, you can't stop that garnishment, because there could be repercussions behind it, such as child support and tax type garnishments. I know people might be saying, well, hey, you owe the money, this and that. That is not the point. The point is that when a person wakes up in the morning, thoughts go through people's minds, and if they have garnishments or they know a garnishment is coming, they have to build themselves up to go to work every day to know that a portion of their paycheck is automatically going to be gone. That is a mental, psychological, I don't even know how to express it, but that feeling for an individual is not a good feeling. And some people can deal with it, but I'm seeing that most people cannot deal with it because of the emails that I get and the way that people are expressing the pain that they're going through with a garnishment. It's more than just having money taken out of somebody's check. Like, that's the simple and easy, explanation. For me, I've never went through a garnishment because I have my own business, but I went through having the collections and all of the calls and all of that stuff. But I do, I understand that feeling. And people keep thinking that this is just so much about just tell people to do this and they're going to do it. Tell people to do that. Read this, watch that, and people will just do it. If it was so much of just following instruction, nobody would have any of these issues. These are internal issues. Dealing with debt is an internal issue first. Having bad credit is an internal issue first. It's something that is within you, within us, on the way that we handle our money. But the way that we handle our money is an extension of who we are on the inside. And sometimes we don't like who we are on the inside, and we try to cover it up with things on the outside. I had a note here before I get started with, we're going to talk about what types of wages are exempt from garnishment and different things that we've utilized here at the Credit Repair Shop to stop garnishments. So I want you to be aware of these opportunities to be able to stop garnishments and put yourself in a better position to be able to deal with them. But I had put something on my notes here on my paper, and it says that, why do good things happen to some people and bad things happen to most people? And see, I'm the type of person that will always, number one, I look at both sides. I'm a listener. Like a lot of people, when they've talked to me on the phone, I just had a business client. I'll just tell it in a story. I had a business client, and he called me, and he told me, like, I listened for like 5 minutes, exactly what he was doing, no interruptions. I listened to him, and then I gave him my response. Here's the crazy thing about it, is that he really, in a way, disregarded my response And the reason why he disregarded my response, he didn't do it consciously. He did it subconsciously because he wanted to be right with his situation. He wanted to be right about what he's saying, and he really called me to just kind of justify, to give him another brick on top of his foundation of what he's thinking about his situation. But what I do is I listen, and I teach all of my employees, let's listen, and then let's tell them our opinion, our opinion based upon the facts and the experience, and then let them make a decision, because nobody is going to make a decision because somebody made them make that decision. Nobody. People think that. I used to think that in the past, that somebody can make you make a decision. No. You come to your own decisions based off of what you were already thinking is going to happen. I know that might sound crazy, but I'm going to read this again. Why do good things happen to some people and bad things happen to most people? The reason why is because most people think negative. Most people think like in a lottery mentality of good things, which for most, that ain't never going to happen. And they never think about little things that can allow big things or good things to happen. So it's like this. You have an issue with debt. Let's just say that you have a credit card debt and it is $50,000. You're either thinking, how can I get rid of all of the debt? Or you're thinking that, it's over. There's no way that I can accomplish getting out of that debt. Even when you are given an alternative on how you can deal with it, your mindset is already set that you're not going to accomplish getting out of that $50,000 in debt. So you're actually, no matter if somebody comes to you with the answer and then you start applying that answer to it, your mindset could actually corrupt the whole thing. It could be like a computer where you write a computer program and then you have this individual insert this virus into it. There was nothing wrong with the program. What was wrong was what was inserted into the program later. And when people start to try to get out of debt, people start to work on their credit, the thing that is like a virus that goes right into, that gets injected, is that they have this feeling of, if it doesn't happen right now, or it can't happen because my situation is just too bad. And I try to come up with ways to help people come to that realization, because I'm not about talking anybody into anything. What I want people to do is I want people to come to the realization that this is a solution and that I need to allow that solution to build upon itself. Because then if the person does that, they are changing on the inside. They're changing on the inside. So right here, this is like one of the biggest things that people are going to be facing from 2023 moving forward. You see that there's a lot of things changing in our economy. A lot of the laws are being changed. Right now, debt collectors are they're like lobbying Congress to be able to change a lot of these rules. They're lobbying Congress to be able to make the standards lower on what they can utilize as proof to be able to sue people, to be able to go into their accounts. We already saw that they're able to contact you through social media. They're using AI to contact and go back and forth with people. They're using tracer tools to find out information about people, to be able to see how they're paying their bills so they can garnish your bank account. That business client that I was talking to, he said one of the providers that he was doing business with, that he had a dispute with, They actually sued, and he woke up one morning and they had taken money out of his bank account. They had taken the money directly out of his bank account. So these companies what they're doing is, they're lobbying with groups. They have groups that lobby Congress, state legislatures, federal, and they look at different things that they've ran into from people like me that have stopped them from being able to garnish, from being able to go into bank accounts, from being able to win debt collection lawsuits. And they look at how they target, how can they stop that from being able to happen? And it could be frustrating because you're like, why are they continually able to change the game when we are supposed to be playing on a level playing field? So garnishments is like, this is, I'm serious. I get a lot of emails about people who have already lost their court case and they're trying to figure out how can they stop this garnishment, because it's going to put them into that feeling that I just talked about earlier in the video. Waking up in the morning on Friday, you get your paycheck and your money is gone. So the first thing you need to be aware of is that if you have a judgment, if you have a court summons and you are exempt with these here, and I'm going to talk about other ways to be exempt, but you have these basic exemptions right here, you need to call them and let them know of how you are about your income. If it's one of these here, or you're in this situation, you need to notify the plaintiff attorney immediately. On a video that I made years ago while I was in my exercise room, I had stated that a young lady, she had was on disability, and I said, you just need to notify them immediately. When she called and notified them immediately, guess what they did? They said that they're going to dismiss the suit. I said, you still need to go to court, because what they'll do is they'll just try to get the default judgment and then just wait it out, and maybe you get lucky and win the lottery or whatever. They're just going to keep, tracking to see if you start working or something changes in your life. And she went to court, and when she went to court, they called her name. She looked, and they looked, and when they saw that she was there, then they said, this case, we wish to dismiss. They didn't even let her come up to say anything. They just saw that she was there, and they said, dismiss. So the first thing you need to do is don't disregard the court summons. Respond to the court summons and put, to the best of your ability. If you can't afford to have a service do it, to the best of your ability, respond to it. But if you are exempt, all you have to do is respond to it and put that you're exempt, but also call that plaintiff attorney and let them know that you're exempt. So the exemptions here: SSI benefits, SSI disability benefits, and Medicaid benefits. So I put this one in here because there's some states that pay people based on Medicaid. I'm not 100% sure how that works, but some people get some sort of Medicaid payments. I'm not sure if that's with insurance. I'm not sure, but I'd heard that in a news report, and I wanted to add that on there because that would be exempt. And on the list, it's exempt on the list, but I've never really fully investigated how those payments are made, or is that for a certain age? I'm not sure on that. I do know that for SSI benefits, that we know that that's going to be someone in the upper age, maybe even retired, or maybe they're not retired. And Social Security disability income could be anyone. It could be someone that is, 18 years old where their parent passed away. Or it could, just someone that is not able to work. They have some sort of disability, so they're deriving income from Social Security disability. Child support payment and alimony payments cannot be garnished. Now, this is if you're receiving it. Now, if you're paying out that stuff, you can be garnished. So if you could be getting garnished for this and also have to pay out on another garnishment. That is possible. And But something that you should check, let me help the people on the other side. Something that you should check is that you cannot be garnished in most states. You cannot be garnished by two companies at the same time. I know here in the state of Wisconsin, if you already have a garnishment coming out, the other company has to wait in line until that garnishment is finished. But if you are receiving child support or alimony, that cannot be garnished. But you do need to check your state laws because this stuff is being changed as we speak with some states. Retirement income cannot be garnished, but you do need to double check your state. I know in the state of Wisconsin cannot. On a federal level, it cannot, but some states have made some types of changes with that. The next thing is earned income tax credit. This is a big one because a lot of people get their taxes taken away, where they'll say, my taxes were taken away because I owed money. But one of the things that people don't know about and how you can actually get that money back. And I would, if you did get your taxes taken away, unless you just want to, just let it get paid so you could just deal with what you're dealing with, you could potentially get that money back if that was the earned income tax credit based on your children. That money cannot be taken away because that would, in a way, fall under this category. So if you get earned income tax credit based on your children, that portion could be exempt. You would have to sit down and with your tax provider to see if they can look that up for you. But another thing that you could do is just simply call the IRS and just say, hey, I was getting $8,000 back. $6,000 of that was because of the child tax credit. Wouldn't that be exempt from you being able to, or whoever garnished that money, wouldn't that be wouldn't that be exempt? And they would tell you, and if it is exempt, you would be able to recoup that money. And don't think it's crazy to be able to get money recouped. I had an individual who had debt collection for I think 3 years. He was paying payments for a student loan. We did some research and found out that they were not able to be garnishing him for that student loan, and he got all of the payments back from that debt collection company. So you never know. That's why you never know. You got to give yourself the opportunity. That could be one little baby step towards resolving your situation, where you don't have to think that, yes, it's got to happen or it's not going to happen. You just take a little baby step to move forward, to move towards it. Remember what I said, and I'll repeat it again. Why do good things happen to some people and bad things happen to most people? Because most people are not willing to even take a baby step towards the goal that they want. They think if they take a baby step towards the goal, that the end result has to materialize right away. Don't be thinking that way. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, which is very important, in my state of Wisconsin, it has here, I'm looking at what's called a poverty guideline for earnings. This sheet here, here's the sheet. You can see the sheet there. Hopefully it doesn't flip it on there. But so what it says here is, it says that, and this is for July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. They reset this every 6 months. Yeah, in is that a 6 month cycle or a yearly cycle? Almost a year. They reset it, and what I've seen, some of the times they raised it, where they said, hey, if you make like more money you make based upon this, you can't be garnished. But I have seen it over the years that I've been watching this, that it actually went down one time. And I think during COVID it had went down. That means that if you made, like for example here, if you have a family of three, size of 3, and you earn $886 bi-weekly, if you earn that amount of money or less for a family of 3, you would not be able to be garnished. You would not be able to be garnished. And I've seen that where, like say now it's $886, and then a year later when they reset it, one of the years that went down like to $880. Like, for example, not saying it's doing that now, but it has been increasing. They've been allowing, and I'm pretty sure it's going to even do a bigger jump because these are a huge jump. I remember when this used to be $600. They would only allow you to make $600 as a family of 3. Now, I know what you're already thinking. There's no way you could survive on that amount. I'm just telling you that this is an option that we have here in the state of Wisconsin, and they say that, like, say, for instance, you got a family of 5. If you're getting family of 5 monthly, $2,706 monthly for a family of 5, you would not be able to be garnished. You would not believe how many people have walked into our office and we were able to stop their garnishment based off of this sheet right here. Most people don't know about this. Debt collectors in our state don't tell people about it. They don't want people to even know about it. All it takes is a simple letter, and all we do, we utilize that to be able to stop people from getting garnished. So what you need to do in your state, you need to look up. In our state, they call it a poverty guideline. You need to look up all of the potential exemptions in your state. Some states have an income exemption. Some states say, well, you can only have a certain percentage exemption. Some states say, well, we exempt all of these types of incomes. And some states say we don't allow garnishment at all. But be careful in the states that say we don't allow garnishments, because those states do allow debt collectors to go dipping right into your bank account. So one time somebody asked me, which one is worse, being able to be garnished in the state or not being able to be garnished in the state? And I said, to me, the one where you can't be garnished in the state is worse, because clients and people who were not clients, YouTube subscribers who watch my videos, or people who came across my videos were like, hey, I woke up this morning and my bank account was cleared out. My paycheck was supposed to be in there. I was supposed to pay my rent. I was supposed to pay my mortgage. I was supposed to pay my car, all of that stuff, and the money was gone. So, I think that is worse. So if you live in a state like that, you got to be careful. And in all 50 states, if you own a business in all 50 states, like I mentioned with my business client, he was able to be garnished in his business account because of the judgment that was against his business. They were able to go right into that account and get that money. So it would have been wise of him to negotiate. Another thing that for a YouTube subscriber that had watched the video and I had a brief conversation with her, is that when they did garnish the wages, when they did go into the bank account, in most states, they usually will say that if that money was utilized for household expenses, that they would require them to put that money back in there. Like, they have these requirements, like if it's, let's just say you got paid $2,000 that week, they would say, well, okay, a percentage of that needs to be left in there so the individual would be able to take care of household needs. So you need to look at that option too in your state to see if that opportunity is available to you, if you happen to have your account raided or seized by a debt collector. Another thing that you should be aware of is that if you are being garnished by a debt collector and you cannot make those payments, you can renegotiate with them. You could just, make a call with them. This is another one of those baby steps. You can make a call with them and say, you're garnishing me 25% of my wages. I need to renegotiate because this is going to put me into a bankruptcy. I can't do it. I can't keep paying that with all of my other household expenses. So can we change this over and maybe you do 15% and then let me kind of catch up on some other things? And they would most likely do that because they want to make sure that they keep getting paid. If they don't do it, then it could put you into a situation where you're just like, hey, I can't even continue paying you. Another thing that you should be aware of is that Uh, Looking at my notes here, there was a conversation that we had with a potential client where she had stated that a debt collector had called. They had already got a judgment against her, and they were like, "We're going to come and take personal items." Every state has exemptions on personal property, such as your furniture, such as your vehicle, all types of stuff. You will have protections on that up to a certain amount. So make sure that you look at that too, because they may say, "Hey, we want to try to get payment by taking an asset and selling it." I don't hear of that happening too much in my state, but I do, for some reason, hear of that happening in the southern states. I don't know, maybe that's just the way that people are doing stuff. I'm from the South, I'm from Texas, but it just seems like that is the way that some of these debt collectors are utilizing. And then you never know, maybe it is just the type of debt collection firm that there is. See, you got to think about it from their point of view, not to be on their side, but look at it from their point of view on what they're trying to do. They're buying debt. They're buying thousands of dollars worth of debt, and they can't just buy one debt for pennies on a dollar. They have to buy thousands of dollars worth of debt for pennies on a dollar. And so the first thing they're going to be looking at doing is, number one, making their money back. And the way that they make their money back is by maximizing what they get from every action that they take on either suing people or calling people. Because if they're calling people, that's taking employees to do that. So they buy the debt, takes employees, they got to mail out that dunning letter. Just think of how much it costs. Stamps are going way up, envelopes, paper. They have to send all of that out to people before they can even start the conversations on the debt. If they're using skip tracing software, that's expensive. If they're utilizing any type of software to hunt down people, that's expensive. If they take people to court, they have to pay a fee for each lawsuit, and they have to have an attorney or an assistant or someone get it over there, either upload or serve it. That's costing money. So everything that they're doing, they might have bought it for pennies on the dollar, but now each one of those debts could be costing upwards of $500 to $600. You never know, or even higher if it's a higher amount, depending on what they're doing. So it just add that up. If they got like 1,000 lawsuits, Midland Credit Management sued over 100,000 people in one state over a 6-month period. Times that times 500. So you can see the incentive on why they would be very aggressive on doing whatever they could do to be able to get it. And maybe a lot of people, have boats and different type of RV stuff. In down south, it was more prevalent at one time, but now it's even happening up here. So maybe they might start trying to make those threats up here. But they threatened to take this lady's furniture. And I was like, let me just kind of alleviate your fears right now. They won't be able to take your furniture. And then I said, don't just take my word on it. Go and look it up in your state and look at what the exemptions are on your personal property. Even if the tax man was coming after you, you have exemptions on personal property. So if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process and my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports, and all 3 scores, and that has all of the information that you will need to be able to repair your credit. Also, if you have debt collectors coming after you, you need to stop them as early as possible. Grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations letter for debt that is time barred or past the legal statute of limitations to be able to collect. There's a lot of debt collectors buying that debt because people don't know their rights. If you have a debt that's past legal statute of limitations to collect, you do not need to do a debt validation. You just need to notify them that you have no legal obligation to pay that debt, and that you want them to stop calling you about that debt. If the debt is not past the legal statute of limitation, you need to utilize the letter that I give you that's called a cease and desist collection activities letter. This will ask them specific questions and also make sure that they have everything to be able to sue you for that debt. And if they decide to take you to court, you're going to know what they do and don't have, and you would be able to have a document that's already prepared that you mailed to them showing that they did not provide you the information when you requested it when you go to court, and that will move you forward towards a dismissal even quicker if they try to play that game like we need more time to get this information. And I give you a debt validation letter to go back and forth just in case they try to play that back and forth game. I give you a third letter on that. The link is below this video. We can help you if you have debt problems with debt settlement. We can help you if you have debt collection lawsuits. Even with original creditor lawsuits, we can review your information and tell you some options that you may have. Thank you for your time. Please